Gemini 2412 dual vintage state variable filters. Let's invert the phase of the first filter against the second one. And self oscillation should be enabled, in this case on both oscillators. Hi everyone, thank you for checking out this video on the AJH Synth Gemini 2412 dual vintage state variable filters. It has, of course, two filters. They are identical to each other. Each filter is based on the vintage SEM filter with FET transistor buffers, and it is a 12 dB multimode SEM filter. But it goes beyond what the original filter used to. You can use it in the traditional way, you can have that kind of sound, but even just looking at the front panel, you can see it has more features, more CV control. It also has overdrive added if you pass level 8 on the input level, and the original SEM filter could not self-oscillate. These ones, instead, if you move the jumper position at the back individually per each filter, you can add self-oscillation capability to only one of them, to both. The choice is yours. But where things get even more interesting is with this central magic pass section. It's this section that allows you to interact and play with these two filters at the same time in interesting ways. So you can have that 12 dB SEM filter, you can have those vocal formant kinds of sounds, you can combine these two filters, so instead of having a 12 dB SEM low-pass filter, you can have a 24 dB SEM low-pass filter. Or instead of having a 6 dB band-pass filter, you can have a 12 dB band-pass filter. But it's much more than that, what you can do, combine them in parallel or cascading them. There is a lot of stuff you can do with it, and we will get there in a second. Okay, let's start having a look at the one filter. They are identical. And then we will look at the middle section and how the filters can work independently or interact with each other. Let's have this green signal going in. Now, this is a multimode filter, and it's actually a very well-featured multimode filter. You have dedicated outputs for low-pass, band-pass, and high-pass, and a special flexible output, which can be set to low-pass, band-pass, high-pass, and a variable type of filter. But we'll have a look at it with some sounds. So let's start with the low-pass. I'll go resonance to 0 for now. You have some drive after level 8, but let's skip it here for now. I have some delay from the Finaliser R-EQ. Even with the resonance, look, the smoothness. Okay, let's change to bandpass. And let's look at the band, part of it anyway. Now let's go to the high pass. Now it's fully open, of course. Okay, then we have this output. As I said, it's a flexible output, and this four-way rotary switch allows you to choose what you get out of output 1. Of course, low pass, band pass, and high pass are just like the ones we saw before. Okay, and then we have this variable mode. Now with variable mode, you can change from a notch filter in the middle go towards the high pass, and you can go fully high pass, or anything in between high pass and a notch. Or the other way around, you can go towards the low pass. I really like this section between 8 and just before the middle. Of course, one of the cool things of having a multimode filter is that you can have one sound going in and having, because all these outputs are available all at the same time, you can have one sound going in. And as I did 2 videos ago in a short touch video showing the Gemini, I took the low pass portion of the sound to center it as a mono bass sound. And I took, I think it was the high pass section, monophonic. I sent it to the 12 megaphase 12 from AJH Synth. So I split it. Well, I didn't split it. I created a left and right phasing moving sound. So out of one single sound, I had a bass sound centered, and I had the high pass part of the portion of the sound split into 2, creating a little bit of a stereo feel. And again, you can change this to any of these 4 options. So you could have 2 band pass, or 2 low pass, 2 high pass, or any of these 3, and a variable filter. So it's very flexible in terms of just being a multi-mode filter. So let's have a look at some of the CV control. So we send the signal back to the input. Let's take the output 1 so we can easily change it. I'm going to send a sine to the frequency CV control 1, and this knob will be the attenuator, so you can attenuate and invert the CV control for the frequency. Okay, then you can send the CV to the resonance. This will become the attenuator for the resonance CV control. So we send a sine to the FCV and a so. The 1 volt per octave can use it mainly for when you have the filter in self oscillating mode, but you can also use it as an additional CV control. Indeed, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to send a copy of the. Okay, let's get the output playing. Maybe. Now, this is the same CV control voltage for the notes of this kind of melody. It's not the output of the oscillator, it's just the CV voltage for individual notes. And you can also have this at the same time. So you can have an envelope controlling the frequency, and in this case it's individual set of different CV nodes. Okay, let's have a look now at the central section. We start from this switch where you can set the 2 filters in series or in a dual mode. In dual mode, unless you plug something into the input of the second filter, you have the input from the first filter normaled into the second filter too. So you have 2 filters in parallel processing the signal. And that is really cool because it opens the door to quite a few interesting filtering options. For example, we could have the filter on the left set to a low pass and the second filter set to a high pass. Let's have a sound source going in. Now, because I don't have anything plugged into the second filter, this input is normal to the second filter as well. So we can check the output of the first filter. Okay, so low pass. And this is the output of the second filter, in this case an high pass of the same sound. Okay. What if you wanted to take a mix of both of these outputs and maybe crossfade between them? Yeah, that's what the center section, one of the things that the center section allows you to do. So this D out, it's the combined output of both filters. And we can crossfade between the 2. So this is the left filter only. Right filter only. 50-50. Or, any balance. More of this, less of this. More of this and less of that one. As simple as that. We also have CV control of this crossfade. And you can use this in a couple of ways, like you can for any CV control. Let's say that you have this module set the way you want it in a section of your case that you don't really want to touch much, because that's where maybe all your sound sources are from, and you're mixing from your maybe smaller case, like you have this filled in with mixing and faders. You could send a patch from here to a fader control or a touch fader, so you can have a remote control over this crossfading. Or, of course, we can simply use something like, let me take maybe a sine wave. So this will be the CV control of the crossfading. And I'm going to, if you plug something in, this will be your attenuator for this CV. Filter 2, filter 1. Okay. Now, there is more that this central section can do for us. This allows us to control, to add an offset to the frequency of both filters at the same time. So, this is the output. Let's put it in the middle. And now I'm going to apply offset to both frequencies. Indeed, if we were to take the output from here, this is just the low pass. And this is the second filter. So you can add movement to the frequency of both filters at the same time, which is really useful. Then we have the DFCV mix. This allows us to, in a way, offset the offset. Okay, let's hear the sound. Offset applied to both. Now, with this, I can decide to apply the offset more to the left filter. Or maybe apply only to the right one. Or apply equally to both. And again, we can have a CV control of this parameter as well. This will be the attenuator for it. More to the right. And we have CV control over this offset that we can apply to the filters. So let's hear the sound again. And let's apply a sine wave to this knob. And let's open it. No, so this is the attenuator for this control now. You can hear both frequencies controlled by this sine. And again, you could say, oh, I want it only, mainly on the right filter, the effect of this offset. Or mainly to this side. Well, you get the idea. Of course, you can also apply CV control to both the offset of the frequencies and the audio mixing. An example of the cool things you can do with this amount of control over frequency, offset, and dual processing on a single sound. Let's, for example, set these to bandpass and these to bandpass as well. Okay, now we have two bandpass filters, and this is the peak of the second filter, and this is the peak of the first filter. Left, right. And now, thanks to this offset control, I can change these two peaks at the same time. So I have a dual peak resonant filter under my control. And I can also influence one more of the other, as we've seen before. So I want to change mainly the position of this peak on this band. Or this one. Now the peak from the first filter is passing this peak and getting over and then coming back. That's really, really cool. And you can, of course, automate this. You see, I'm moving the two peaks in parallel. I mean, you can, of course, use a combination of high pass, band pass, low pass to create your range, your custom bands and so on, and move them around. There is a lot of versatility. We are still in dual mode. Let's have a sort of droning sound, and I'm going to send the first filter output to the left channel. The second filter goes panned to the right. We send the LFO to the first filter. Let's get another LFO for the second filter. Remember, we can control both filters, both frequencies for the filters with just this one offset control. Let's get the mixed output to the center pan. Play around with the center. Let's invert the phase of the first filter against the second one. Both band pass. Let's have a look now at the cascade mode. Let's input a sound source. It's a kind of droning sound. Now, with cascade mode, these two filters are connected in series. So the output of this filter and these settings is feeding the input of the second filter. So for example, let's say that this is the full spectrum of the sound source, and you set these to band pass, and you only have like this band that goes into the second filter. Then the second filter is only able to, of course, filter the sound on this band because that's all that is present at its input. Therefore, if you take the output of the second filter, it's affected by your manipulation of the first filter. Let's have a look. So let's start from the low pass. We take the output of this first filter, and this is now a 12 dB SEM low-pass filter. In cascade mode, if we take the output from the second filter, and if we set both to low pass and we match the settings of the filter, we don't have a 12 dB SEM pass filter, but we just created a 24 dB low pass filter. And so if we move these, together, well, let's do the example. Okay, this is the 12 dB. 24 dB. Oh, remember, you always have the, even in series, you have this crossfader. So this is 12 dB filter. And remember, this can affect both frequencies. So now we're only hearing the left filter. Now we have a stronger 24 dB filter. Now, in the case of a band pass, so we move in the band, of course. That sounds just great. Lovely. Now, if we set these two band pass as well, and let's set them both here and there with the resonance, roughly. So this is the 6 dB band pass filter. This is the result of a 12 dB band pass filter. And in between. End of the chain. Now, similarly to what we did with the dual parallel setting, you can also have a double peak filter. So we have a first band here. Okay, this is the whole band that we're sending to the second filter. And then on the second filter, we can create a second peak within the range. Now, in this case, it has to be within the range of the output of the first filter, not within the full spectrum of the source. Because remember, this can only see what this passes through. And you can move them together. Choose more to one side or the other. You can, of course, create your own combination of modes and create your own, custom filter. For example, a custom band pass. Let's take the output of the second filter. Let's open. Okay, let's open. This is an high pass, but it's fully open. Okay. This we can set it to high pass. Now, setting this to high pass, we can choose the lowest edge of this band. Let's say from here. This goes into here, and here we can set it to low pass. Now, of course, it's fully closed. And we can then determine, let's see the peak. See? So this is my custom band pass filter. This one decides the bottom limit. And this one decides the upper limit of this band. And again, you can move it. You can decide to offset more one than the other. And remember, we can use the CV control, so let's add the CV control to the offset. Let's slow this down a little bit. And you can also add some movement to the individual frequencies. Maybe this one, let's put it on the 1 volt per octave. The triangle on the 1 volt per octave. I'm changing the rate. So, signal at the input, triangle for the FCV1, a sine for the FCV2, and another sine for the resonance CV, and the output we take in the one from the audio mixer. And the output eventually goes into some reverb on the Finaliser R-EQ, only reverb, nothing else. The same patch as before, but I'm changing the envelopes. I just made some custom envelope with code ADSR. These are the jumpers for the Self Oscillation, so we place them on both pins. and self oscillation should be enabled, in this case on both oscillators. Okay, the jumpers are in. I set up some notes, few notes playing, and tuned the oscillator roughly. This is the 1 volt per octave coming to the first oscillator, then it goes into a VCA and so on. That's the voice coming into the left input, and then the right input, we give it the same. It's a few different notes, maybe 1 octave higher, some notes, some are same notes, some are slightly different, and we send it to the left, to the right. Yeah, just a simple example of using these two as a couple of additional oscillators. Okay, I have a drum beat going with modular sounds. The kick, I'm sending it on the first filter. The snare, percussion, hats, it's on the second one, so that I can filter the kick on its own and the rest of the kit on it, full bits and bobs on their own, and it goes straight into the DAW. So yeah, let's have a mess about. Just one more thing before we go. If you would like to know what I'm going to review next, or updates on reviews, snippets of things I'm doing, make sure you link with me on Instagram and Twitter. I sometimes post short videos on Instagram and Twitter of the upcoming module or what I'm going to do next or other things and bits and bobs that I am working on. So yes, the link is in the description for all the social links. Okay, we have in no way exhausted the sonic possibility of this module because it's so versatile and of course being a filter, but offering so much hands-on or CV-based modulation and depending on the source material as well, you can achieve such a big, huge variety of sounds, rhythmic variations with your LFO frequency, giving different types of rhythmic effects on the resonance, on the frequency, on the mix of the two channels, on the offset of the range, the band of spectrum you choose to use in your track. We have seen all of that, so it's no point in repeating a lot of it. This is definitely a keeper. There is no doubt about it. It's a great module, but it's also a really masterful, a really clever way to offer a dual filter. And that's not only because the amount of features that each single filter offers, being multi-mode, and we already said it with all the controls and so on, but it is this middle section that allows you to mangle, to play with, to change the amount of sound from one with respect to the other, in playing with the phase between the two. There is just a lot of fun you can have playing with the two filters in combination. It is great that you can create your own dual peak, change the width of a band pass. There is so much versatility that it's going to be useful in no matter what kind of patch you're creating. Something like this, it's always going to add a little bit extra, and it makes it easy as well. It's an easy module to use. That's a really plus point. It has a lot of versatility, but it's really hands-on. It's just easy to use. And it is thanks to this central section that the end result you can achieve with this module goes beyond. It's way more than the simple sum of its parts. I had a lot of fun getting to know the Gemini 2412. What will happen with the next one? Next one from AJH Synth I will be reviewing is the Finaliser R-EQ, the Reverb, Equalize, Enhance module. And now that it's a candidate, so that's a possible keeper as well. So if you want to know it, stay tuned for the next review coming soon. Okay guys, thank you very much for watching the video all the way through, or chunks, and until next time, happy Euroracking.